Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia.
Few Americans know little, if anything, about Yugoslavia. One reason is because not many people know where to find it. Actually, it's really quite simple. Just go to Italy and make a right.
Yugoslavia.
A popular misconception about Yugoslavia is that it is a neighboring country of the Soviet Union. In actuality, it borders 7 European countries, none of them being Russia. A bigger misconception than the location, though, is the country itself. When most
Dear sweet Mother of God, we're in Eastern Europe. Excuse me. You speak any English?
You are Americans?
Yeah.
I love America. We just get Miami Vice on television. Hey man, Miami Vice is #1 new show.
Yeah. Listen, we're trying to get to Berlin, Germany. Do you know if there's a train coming anytime soon?
Oh yes, very soon. They are building it now. Stop! Hammer time! Enjoy Bratislava. It's good you came in summer. In winter, it can get very depressing.
Okay, we've got to figure something out. How much money do we have?
The whole thing started, of course, with intuition. Intuition again started to force me to do something I'm afraid of. And it's the same thing as in Phnom Penh when she told me go to Talang. This time she's telling me to go to Depressia. And I'm very, very afraid of going back to Depressia, because Depressia is, as you know, name is saying, very depressive state and depressive state of mind. Unemployment is about 60%. Those who work are overworked and treated like utter shit. And the only future you have if you are depression, then, I mean, Depressia means Croatia, right? And if you're depression or Croatian, the only future you have is Germany. And because there is nothing left back home. Unless you really want to work 16 hours per day for 400 euros while your psychopathic or neo-psychopathic boss is shouting at your face every day. You piece of shit, you've been bred hungry until I took you under my wing. Shut the fuck up, there is 100 schmucks like you waiting for your job. Shut that fucking mouth. Shut that fucking asshole. Don't let shit coming out of that asshole, that opening in your head, and so on. So, I'm like totally torn, because my intuition wants it and the rest of me is in such a pain of even thinking about going back home that I feel like physical pain in my body, you know. But she was like, suddenly started to tell me that the circle is over, Kruno, like the circle is over. Now it's counterproductive to stay here because you figure it out, what you figure it out, and which was like a quest almost. And then this footage from, you know, explanation of Joseph Campbell's work came into my view.
What do Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo all have in common with the heroes of ancient myths? What if I told you they are all variants of the same hero? Do you believe that? Joseph Campbell did. He studied myths from all over the world and published a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, retelling dozens of stories and explaining how each represents the monomyth or hero's journey. So, what is the hero's journey? Think of it as a cycle. The journey begins and ends in the hero's ordinary world, but the quest passes through an unfamiliar, special world. Along the way, there are some key events. Think about your favorite book or movie. Does it follow this pattern? Status quo, that's where we start. 1 o'clock, call to adventure. The hero receives a mysterious message, an invitation, a challenge. 2 o'clock, assistance. The hero needs some help, probably from someone older, wiser. 3 o'clock, departure. The hero crosses the threshold from his normal, safe home and enters the special world and adventure. We're not in Kansas anymore. 4 o'clock, trials. Being a hero is hard work. Our hero solves a riddle, slays a monster, escapes from a trap. 5 o'clock, approach. It's time to face the biggest ordeal, the hero's worst fear. 6 o'clock, crisis. This is the hero's darkest hour. He faces death and possibly even dies, only to be reborn. 7 o'clock, treasure. As a result, the hero claims some treasure, special recognition, or power. 8 o'clock, result. This can vary between stories. Do the monsters bow down before the hero, or do they chase him as he flees from the special world? 9 o'clock, return. After all that adventure, the hero returns to his ordinary world. 10 o'clock, new life. This quest has changed the hero. He has outgrown his old life. 11 o'clock, resolution. All the tangled plot lines get straightened out. 12 o'clock, status quo, but upgraded to a new level. Nothing is quite the same once you're a hero.
And in that footage you have this, circle of hero. You have the adventure, call to the adventure, you have help, you have the obstacles, you have the mortal threat. And then I figured out, wait, that really corresponds what happened to me. I had the mortal threat. I had that when Dr. Streng Sorotea told me that I have 2 weeks of life when I suffered from E. coli superbug infection 2 years ago, and that was very close to death. I was half me. I was like 60 kilos big and in huge pain. And I had that, and then I had the help coming in the form of my mother as well, her money, but intuition telling me to leave Phnom Penh, where I was heavily microwaved, and go to Taweng and recover, and I did recover. All my recovery happened in Ratanakiri. It took a very long time to recover from E. coli superbug, about 9 months, but I did. And in these 6 years of Southeast Asia, I had like many of these tests and quests in a smaller shape. Now it's coming into my mind, sensing where is the danger while I was walking streets in Bangkok and Phnom Penh, or sorry about the back noise right now. Normally I simply need to quit the project and start again if I hear this metallic banging sound. I'm not sure about this time. So yeah, I had that, and I learned that I can totally 100% rely on my intuition. Like that time in Phnom Penh, when I felt that danger is coming, before I seen any danger, I put my laptop in a bag, and then I've seen scooter coming with 3 guys, and then they came to rob me. So that worked like perfectly, knowing without even seeing it physically, and then seeing it and knowing these are the bad guys, although it's just one scooter of many, and then they really dismantled and came to threaten me. So I fought them off with my teaser, but not the teaser was not the thing which saved me. What saved me was intuition. So all that and understanding of who are the Illuminati and that telepathic thing was something what was really petrifying me when I discovered it. And now, after all these years, after 5 years after discovery, which happened at late May 2012 in Amsterdam, this was the first time when I stumbled on Illuminati people and figured out who they are telepathically. Now all that now came to the phase when I finally can and must say it in person to folks back home, to do small lectures, what I was doing like 10 years ago roughly. Not many people, 5, 10, when it's like really big crowd, 20. But tell them openly what happened, and face with that, and also face with the biggest inner fear, which is coming back to live in that depressive hole, in that depressive neighborhood with my super depressive parents, and also face myself with the fear that I might be imprisoned in the white prison, in the mental institution, because of the things I'm speaking. And this is something what I simply need to face myself with, and or only as a fear, or even as a possibility, right? So in short, the time finally came for me to face the music back home. When you're walking down the street, it's pretty normal when many people are passing by you that they are looking at you like this. You have all this incredible aggression and hate present on the street. And when I was many years ago, when I was calling a friend of mine who is married to a girl in Bangkok, we lost the contact in the meantime. But he was one of my buddies from a ship, and he was from Zagreb, Croatia, Davor Rubicic. When I told him, asked him, what is the main difference between Thailand and Croatia? And he said, well, Bruno, first thing I can figure it out as an answer is when you're going down the street in Bangkok, you don't have all these people looking at you with the hate in the eyes. And paradoxically, really that was absolutely the worst thing in Croatia, all this hate on the street. And here, that hate was coming only from the racists and those who've been harassing you. Not that much from the general public, but in Croatia, that shit is really coming from the general public. It's like a culture. It's like culture of hate. So, it's a country of such a colossal caste divide, huge difference between haves and have-nots. So those who are haves, that treat have-nots like utter shit. To work in Croatia means that you simply must have a stomach to resist all that name calling and humiliation. What the Croat workers say, uđe na jedno, izađe na drugo. It comes to one ear and gets out to another ear. This is the philosophy of Croatian worker. Another one is ko te pita. Anybody ask you anything, like when you're complaining or how life is like that, ko te pita. On everything I told you right now, the real proper Croatian worker would tell me ko te pita. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like somebody gives a shit. So yeah, that's the atmosphere. Oh man. Not Croatia. It's like every time I'm in Croatia, I feel like there is 1 ton of lead on my shoulders and like just pressing me. You have only... average Croatian is my age, 42. From some reason I was always a representation of the average Croatian. When I was 32, it was average Croatian is 32, now it's 42 as I am. And you have all these baby boomers, of course, most of the Croatian, and only grey heads coming out of the buildings and watching the street down. It's like no young people, no natality. It's like everything is old, old and older and dying, like my parents, and debt. Like, I don't even know what's the debt. It changes from article to article. In some it's $60 billion, in some is 80, sometimes I hear 100, I don't really know. Let's say it's 80. So you have a huge debt. you have a huge unemployment. American statistics is 21. That means only those who are actively working, looking for a job, while others who are not actively looking for a job, they are not unemployed. But when you count those, it's about 60%. so it's like, you know, I think you really need to live in 60% unemployment economy to figure it out how fucked up it is to live. You know, it really affects the collective mind. You know, it's like the whole nation is in front of the wall, and then there is some countdown, 10, 9, and then there is a firing squad in front, and when it comes to 0, you know, we all gonna disappear. And you have this feeling of that awaiting of collapse, imminent collapse, or in some time, but you just see this you know, line. It's everywhere in front of you, in statistics, in people's wallets, and demographically speaking around you. You know, we are really a nation which is disappearing. You understand me? My parents, they have only one child. I'm that child. I have 0. My parents, they had safe jobs. For me, 0. And this is the story of my generation. Okay, my generation was that generation which was hit with, you know, basically the fact that having a job is a huge privilege and only minority can have it. And consequently, you know, if you create that kind of economy where only minority can have some jobs, then of course you're not gonna have natality, right? Because well, at least we are not animals. We don't deliver our babies in tents and in other people's houses, and we don't invade other people's countries because of our huge natality. So you know, when I think about going back to Croatia, it's just you can't afford fucking anything. It's like buying yourself a pair of shoes is a fucking project. Months and months without money for a single cup of coffee. And then I go home, and then I have to listen to my hysterical mother shouting something, arguing with herself, hitting my doors. I don't know, guys. I just don't want to go. I know that I absolutely must. I feel it. You understand me? That's the thing. It's intuitive. It's beyond me. But me as a me, like all of that together is me. They give you 1 gram of marijuana for $10, and on top of that it's old. And you smoke 2 joints, and sometimes you feel like high, sometimes something, sometimes nothing. It's gone.